Hey everybody, I'm Sean Robinson.
I'm Carson Grubaugh. Welcome to Living the Line.
Do you ever notice that we say that in the same pitch every time?
Do we? I try and go up and down a little bit.
I don't mean
Welcome
that
to
we're,
Living.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I have a certain cadence, and I think I hit the same pitch. Hey, over there. Hey everybody, I'm Sean Robinson. You know
Should I
the
like helium before?
do.
Is it, I'm Carson Grubaugh.
We gotta build in some variety here, Carson.
Sorry, guys, we're getting too hypnotic, I guess. That's exactly right. We're trying to hypnotize you. Why would we be hypnotizing them? What
Well,
are we?
today is a special day where we're going to be talking about fungibility and liquid
Yeah,
assets.
that's always
So
exciting.
we do this stuff because it's really fun. I like having a comic buddy. Thanks, Carson, for being my comic buddy, and
Likewise.
thanks for the almost 3,000. Have you seen how quickly we've gone from 2,000 to like 2,700 or something? It's insane. Thank you for all the people who watch. Our channel and are also our cartooning buddies. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you guys watching. Aside from all of the enjoyment that we have talking about comics with our comic buddies and people who watch our videos, which we really appreciate that. We also have been sort of fishing around for a way to debut the stuff that we're working on. Carson, in particular, has got two different projects going on, and we're collaborating on another one. And I have my graphic novel Discards, which I am feverishly inking on in the hopes of finishing sometime in the next 4 months or so. And so
Ooh.
we periodically share things from these in process things on our Patreon. We have very kindly or very a few patrons who have been helping us out since the first time that we launched that. It was a very soft launch. We didn't really advertise it a lot or anything like that and didn't push it very hard. But we have restructured things recently in the hopes of getting some of you guys in there and getting your eyeballs on the stuff that we're working on, getting early access to videos. Basically, what we're asking you today is that you will take a look at our Patreon and consider if you have been enjoying our videos, consider putting down $1 a month or $5 a month to help
Yeah.
us make more videos, make more comics, and also just sort of as a way of saying, we like this thing. Thanks for doing this thing, guys. Because, frankly, we do a lot of things, and it can be sometimes hard to tell which of those things we should do more of. And this is a way to vote with your dollar and say, this is the thing that I want to do. I want you to do more of. Please do this thing more. Same thing with buying books, frankly. Really appreciate that. When you guys buy books and when you let us know, like, hey, we bought this book. Another tremendous way you can support. But the Patreon is a really cool resource. So Carson had put up just an amazing resource on there recently. Carson, what did you just finish uploading?
Yeah, I finally finished uploading basically my drawing one class in its online form. And all those videos are like on YouTube now, but there's a whole bunch of content that's not in the videos. And I think if you go to the playlist, you can probably get to them all, even though they're not released. But I'll be kind of slowly trickling them out here and there. But there's a lot of stuff that like explanation of the assignments, paper that I give out, little worksheets, photos, like here, use this photo to do this assignment so people don't have to figure out how to do their own still life setups or things like that. So it's basically all the content. If someone were at one of the colleges I teach for taking an online class, that's all on there. So I think hopefully that's interesting to a lot of people. I've been like slowly putting it up there, but over the last month, okay, I'm going to finish this and just get it all up there. So that's all up there. I'll probably start working on getting up like my basic design class and stuff like that too over time. So for people who are more interested, I know a lot of people on our channel are creators, and some of them are already probably better than me and don't need that. And then other people have found these videos helpful. And so we just wanted to get those up there. So they're not behind any kind of like, you got to move to Alabama to come take my class type of thing.
And we should say that as of right now, it's not like a lot of this stuff is exclusive to the Patreon. Like we want people's eyeballs. We want you guys to
Yeah.
watch. We want you guys to listen. We put things out on YouTube eventually. But it is a way for us to thank people who are helping contribute to the videos that we make and things like that by us saying, hey, you guys get this as soon as it's done. And so there are times when Carson and I have like banked videos for like right before I moved in July. We recorded like, what did we do? Like 2 or 3 months worth of content, in like a 3 week period. And
Yeah,
it
and I
all went up there
probably
on Patreon simultaneously, right?
I probably have 2 months worth of one-man reviews pre-recorded, so I'm not scrambling. I mean, there's certain things that come out new and I try and get them out within a couple days, but a lot of the stuff, yeah, it's already on there. So it's like an early access type of thing. And the other thing with the drawing stuff is, like I said, there's some stuff that's not video, so there's no way to put it on YouTube really.
Right.
So it's not trying to keep it behind any barrier. It's just it doesn't go up on YouTube. So that's all access for $1 a month. We've lowered the tiers because we want to open up access. So we had it at 310, and then there was 25 with like a special kind of sketch, and I just don't have time to be doing those sketches anymore. Right. And it wasn't as competitive as we had hoped. So just wanted to lower the price of entry. So $1 basically gets you all the early access. I don't know that we're having any kind of like effect on sales yet. I don't think we're that big, but some of the items that I'm looking at are in print runs of, like, they're indie stuff that are in print runs of 200 or 500. Like, I know the one video I just put up on YouTube, Anal Wizards, was a print run of 500, but it's like a video game and a book, which is really cool. So there is that early access side that maybe for some of those more limited things, a couple months later when they come out, they're probably sold out. And then all of those drawing videos are on there early. And then at the $5 tier, what we're doing is that where we'll be posting like the updates about our art. So that's more like if you're really, really wanting to support us as artists and helping us get the art projects done. And me and Sean just kind of split it. We don't do any weird calculations like that. With that also will come the exclusive content, and we'll show you here. I'll go and show the whole first because we have this up for free. The first episode of an ongoing web experiment collaboration between the AI. We'll probably be using a lot of different AI. And
this is a generative art experience called Pranay Day. And so those of you guys who have read Abolition of Man 2 and 3 will know who Pranay is, and will have an idea of the end of Pranay's story, perhaps. This is Pranay, who works at Hodtech, who decides when he wakes up one day that he's going to take an entire day and is going to mute the entire day. He's going to turn everything that happens to himself in this day into one, pass it through one formula and turn it into a new type of experience. And Carson, would you say this kind of started as an excuse to just sort of track the development of the AI?
Yeah, so I'll show, this is the first episode here. And I just wanted to look at what the AI is doing, because if you've seen Abolition of Man 2 and 3 and the art in there versus the art in here, where we're getting like faces and hands, and not 100% consistent faces, but a little bit more consistency of character, linear perspectives all under control. Like, there was massive improvements between Midjourney version 2 and version 3, and now they've released version 4. So I wanted a structure where we have some kind of reason to keep going back to the AI, and just to see how it's developing, and also like when it's not developing, to try out different style prompts, to start comparing AI. So like I'll do one with Dolly, I'll do one with Stable Diffusion, and just kind of have a story structure that justified going back to the same images, right, but with different versions and different variations. So I came up with the idea that in trying to transmute a day, and I don't think any spoilers here, this is kind of the setup for the story. Pranay just like keeps getting sent back, like God keeps coming in and is like, knock it off. And he doesn't stop, he just keeps trying different things. And so the story has that Groundhog Day structure that allows us to generally use the same prompts. So just as a comparison, I won't show all of day 2, which is already up. Day 1 is up for free on Patreon, and then starting with day 2, it's exclusive to the higher tier members. And the other wrinkle that gets involved after day 2 is now the people that are at that second tier that can read the story can also, at the end of each episode, contribute an idea of what Pranay could do different to try and not piss off God and have his day. How does he get out of the loop? And if we get multiple suggestions, then we'll put up a poll where anyone in that tier can vote, and whatever the winning one is. Right now, we only have one suggestion, so that will probably be it for next time.
Right.
But that will affect the story in the next one.
Yeah,
and then that will continue going with that structure.
I was really entertained by your concept, and I was also entertained by your idea that I should script it based on your descriptions. And it was one of those things where I was like intimidated by it. When I actually did it, it ended up being a very efficient kind of thing, because I like Pranay, despite the events of Abolition of Man #3. There's something about a certain kind of dedicated crafts person that really is inspiring to me, even if the craft itself is not what you would hope, or the outcome is not always what you would hope. And Pranay is an interesting figure to me, and so the idea of kind of putting him through this little taste of hell is an entertaining one to me.
Well, and that's why I wanted to. I think like whenever we quit, you kind of wind up with an explanation of why the events of Abolition of Man #3 happened,
right?
Like how he lost his mind. This is like,
right,
the lead up to that. And then, yeah, the reason I asked you to do it is because you had obviously glommed on to something about him
right,
more intensely than I had, and had a real kind of cadence to like his speech patterns, the floweriness of it, and the religious devotion of it. And you really seem to have that. So I was like, okay, I can kind of mimic it, but I need Sean to do that.
Well, I definitely hear him. I mean, he's got a certain kind of thing to him. He's not. It's funny. There's like a certain kind of aggrandizement that when you meet a person that has it, you realize that they're not. It's not fake. They see something that you don't see, and that's where the grand notion comes from, is because they perceive something that you don't perceive. And he strikes me as somebody like that. And yeah, I think you have given him a backstory, a real insight into what happens before the end of Abolition of Man 3.
Yeah. And the other thing that I thought was like really interesting as a challenge to you is you had to write dialogue that was vague enough that as the pictures changed, they still kind of descriptive. Like, I was trying so hard to get him to brush his teeth, and for some reason that wound up like with the pin in the first one, because like in the original story, they don't brush their teeth, they let these worms go in their mouth that clean their mouths. And I don't know that ever came across. I think people probably assumed we got worms, and so we wrote that into the story. But I was trying to get the worms crawling around in their teeth, and it didn't come across. But you can see even by the version 4, we're still having trouble, or the idea that instead of taking a bath, he intentionally gets himself dirty, like he's trying to do everything opposites or wrong. And so you had to deal with that in the script in a way that could accommodate changes in the image, and I thought you handled that really, really well.
Well, thanks. It was a fun challenge. Yeah, like yet routines mustn't be neglected, such as the order we impose in each son's own limited means. The word routines is the thing that makes it hang together, right? Because otherwise, it's like.
And whether he's actually doing the routines backwards or not kind of depends on if the image comes out as well as it could, which it doesn't. But then now we're going to introduce this thing where people can kind of change the story. So I'm sure we're going to have to kind of rewrite things and rescript things depending on what part of the story they change and how much that would impact what's going forward and stuff. So that was I didn't want to just repeat it over and over and over and get boring. I wanted to because we've like lost control on one end, and I kind of like on the back end of what the images look like to some extent, and I wanted to lose control on the front end a little bit too, and make it more interactive. So this is, I think, the big thing that we wanted to get out there, you know, like lowering the prices and the videos and stuff being up there. That's just like that project's completed. Now you guys know, but this is really, I think, the new feature that I'm hoping to get more people involved with, because the more people we get involved, the more suggestions we get, the more, you know, we can do polls and stuff like that. I think the ability to collectively shape this story, and that kind of gets to the core of him trying to transmute today anyways, is he's got this now external, he's fighting against this external force of us, which is really fun. I don't know, if Dave's right about comics, you know, and how comics, or Alan Moore or Grant Morrison, like, we're really going to put this guy through it. We're these evil entities that are going to put this guy through it. But it fits the story in a fun way. So I've really enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and we'll be working on number 3 soon.
I'd be very curious to see what a 50-page Pernade looks like, you know, when it's all assembled, you know, after you've gone through 10 permutations or 15 permutations or 20 permutations. It's a very interesting experiment, and it feels right to me. And I'm glad that we're, you know, launching the new version of the Patreon site with this. I hope that people will participate.
Yeah, and I mean, currently it's like 4 pages, and I imagine it could stay that way, but I also imagine some of the suggestions might force the story growing and shrinking depending on what's happening. So I don't know. It's just, I can't promise, like, obviously with the AI, it's pretty easy to put these together, but depending on what the audience suggestion is, it might shrink or grow how long it takes to take it. But I'm going to try and get these out every 2-3 weeks or something like that, as my schedule allows, if people are looking for like a timeline on it too. Well, it might be super easy and I could do it in a week. If it requires more script changes and stuff, then we'll have to wait for Sean to be able to script Pranay, because he's in your head way more than mine.
I think I can recreate it a little easier now and get slide back into it a little bit easier. But so please $1 a month, $5 a month.
And also say at the $1 a month, I mean, all of it really, but all of the way that I use this is just what I use to buy the books with. So this money just helps us buy the books. So we're trying to put that back into other creators' pockets. This isn't like income for this. So I try and flip it around and put it right back into the community. And then, like financially for our pockets and our livelihood, that's where like go buy Living the Line books. But the Patreon is helping us continue to expose you all to stuff. And so that's really what we're asking for support with here, so much more than funding our next project or whatever.
I should say too that the last announcement we should make today on this is just that Abolition of Man will have a collection. We are working right now with a printer that's going to have a lot more lead time than previous things. So we're actually going to be sending it to the printer next week so that you guys can receive it in June or July. And it will have the first 8 pages of Pernade in there, along with a description of the project, and also along with the description of Carson's long process in bringing this to fruition and the stuff he's been thinking about that led to this project in the first place. And I think it's not a spoiler to say we probably will have some type of direct sales or Kickstarter as we get closer there, and we might have some opportunities to see those stories that prompted the 2nd and 3rd issues in the first place, which would be pretty entertaining.
Both written when we were 20, 22, something like that.
Exactly.
And included in this edition, there will be the first 8 pages of Pranade in print, and who knows if we'll ever print all of it or not. Probably not, but well, I mean, maybe we'll see where it goes. And it will have some of the pages from the Dali edition of issue 1. There was only 10 of them released in the world. We're not going to show the whole issue because A, the Dali version is not that interesting. B, we want to keep that limited 10 edition out there special, but so everyone can get a look at what the difference between the versions was. And then, there's a very long essay that's a combination of 3 essays I wrote between 2007 and 2000 16, I think, off the top of my head, that is, yeah, a real explanation of all of what I'd been up to artistically and philosophically that led into when AI came out. It was like, this is why we jumped on it. It wasn't just a dalliance or a gimmick or something like that. It's very serious. So I think we're at something like 80 extra pages of content in the deluxe edition,
something like that.
Yeah, so that will be pretty cool. And then also, I guess I've talked about it on Patreon and a little bit on Instagram, but I had started a project and then kind of let it go because I wasn't happy with the way it was looking, and I finally figured out the approach I want to take. And so now I'm actually cooking away on what will be my next book called Bound, and I have no idea how long this will take to finish, but this is some of my pencil drawings that then will get colored digitally.
Looking good, Chris Ware.
Yeah, we're going more for self-help illustration, but yeah, Chris Ware's in my DNA. I don't think people know that from Strange Death, but it's pretty in my DNA. And you'll be showing stuff from your book, so there will be, I think, more previews than there have been to this point.
I am actually planning right now. I'm rejiggering the first 30 pages or so for my book, and so I think I'm gonna put those out on the Patreon as well, just so people get a little taste of what it is. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys, making it through this far and listening to our pitch, and also just kind of being part of this community. It really is fantastic. It's fantastic to get to talk directly to you guys. I mean, I'm looking in the mic right now. How can you not miss this appeal? I need to buy books. Give me the money to buy books. Just kidding.
But it's like it's that constant feedback that we're getting that is making us better as cartoonists. I mean, I just released that video where I've talked about the entire change in worldview that our audience and the people we've interviewed have led to, so that back and forth is extremely valuable. And this is just another way to increase the back and forth on as we work, and that could impact, well, with Pronade, it will impact. And I'm sure with all of my other projects and your projects, it will impact what we do. So that's important to us to get feedback. That's amazing. So really appreciate it.
Really is. And anything else we need to say before we go?
No, just thank you. Thank you.
My hand is healed. All the people who've listened to me on and off complain about my hand is healed.
Congratulations.
I have no physical impediments now to my inking. It's only mental impediments.
Well, that means discards will be coming out at a faster pace. So we can all be excited.
I don't know.
Do you have something to show on the board?
Sure.
As he dumps all the artwork on the floor.
I just dropped some on the floor. Yeah. I went back. I've been going back and forth about which, what's my primary implement for different types of things. And
that's
great.
Love.
Can you tell what it is?
That I'd have to see it closer. It has a pinness to it on the hair, I think.
Yeah. So this is all done with the Esterbrook, or sorry, not Esterbrook, the Gillot nibs that I used to really love. These are some kind of crazy nibs that are mostly for what are they? Copper plate engraving, and they are just the most flexible possible nib. And so you get this. You can get a line that like almost is brushy, but it's got the pointiness and the sort of like weird flexibility, the rigid flexibility of the metal. And this is where I dream of being. But I had to switch because I just couldn't do it with my hand. Anyway, blah blah blah. I don't know why I'm going back into this.
Previews of what Sean's working on, and I've seen some pages, like some of the more recent ones that you sent me, just are kind of pretty emotionally devastating images and some really fantastic cartooning where you're like, ooh. So it's going to be a real magnum opus coming from you.
Well, we'll see. I will be satisfied if it's a completed project that is bound in one with one spine. And that's my level of I gotta get it. I'm not gonna have something else until I have this out. So
Well, I look forward to it, and you can see some previews at the Patreon. So thanks for supporting us, whether it be through YouTube or Patreon or however you do it. Thanks for listening, guys. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Make sure to like, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell.